Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to my channel, and today I am going to show you the top 10 responses which you can face when you play the move 1e4. I have collected some data here from chessbase and I have brought it down to 10 top responses looking into around 4 million games. So today I am going to discuss two variations, mainly the Owen's defense and the Nimzovich defense. Let's get to it. So here we have the board in front of us. First, obviously, I am going to show you the responses to 1e4. White is going to make the move 1e4. And now, first question. You guys need to tell me how many legal responses there are there which black can play in this position. Answer me in the comment section and I'll feature the comment in my next video. So first, coming in at number 10, we have the Owen's defense. That is, after white plays 1e4, that is we are playing 1 white e4, black will play b6. This is known as the Owen's defense. Here, there are many choices for white to continue. White can go knight f3, white can go knight c3, white can go d4. There are many options here. Mainly, we are going to look at white playing d4. We are going to play d4, and obviously for d4, black has to go with his own idea, and the reason why he has played b6 is the idea to come bishop b7. Black will play bishop b7. Now we have multiple options here. We have to support the pawn on e4 and there are many ways of doing it. Knight can come to d2 and support the pawn. Knight can come to c3 and support the pawn. Bishop can come to d3, support the pawn. Queen can come to e2 and support the pawn. First we are going to look at knight will come to c3 and support the pawn. Here the main response what black can do here is play the move e6 with the idea of coming to bishop b4 as highlighted by the arrows and pinning down the knight, at the same time pressurizing on the e4 square. Correct? Now this is a normal variation, we can play this, and yeah, it is normal. We can now play bishop d3, black will come bishop b4, not a problem at all. We will push. The main idea of black is to weaken our structure on the queen side and capitalize on this log diagonal. No problem, it is a playable position for both the sides. We will move on to the next variation now. e4, b6, we have decided to go with d4. Bishop b7. Now, knight c3, we have seen what will happen. Black will play e6, we can support the pawn, bishop b4 and normal play. Now we are going to look at the move bishop to d3. This is a very interesting move here. Now we are not committing on where we want to place this knight very early on in the game, because knight can come to d2 as well as the knight can come to c3. And if the knight comes to c3, just in case the knight comes to c3, then our c2 pawn will be blocked and we can't push the pawn to c4, or in that case c3. So generally we prefer to play knight d2. Some people prefer to play knight c3. It is their own choice. We are going to look at bishop d3 now. For bishop d3, black has very interesting choices here. Black can either go with the normal play and play the move e6, and with the same idea, after e6, if the knight comes to c3, the bishop will come to b4 and pin the knight. Same idea again, attacking on the e4 square, and then maybe knight f6, castle, playing normal game here. Another very interesting move here, what black can play.
If black tries to, become a little bit greedy and try to underestimate the opponent.
You guys should never do. You should respect your opponents and never disrespect anyone. Now, what black can do here is play the move f5. Now after the move f5, the simple idea is this square on g2, the bishop is attacking and no one is defending the square. Since our bishop is on d3, this pawn is hanging, so black has decided to play the move f5, just tempting white to capture the pawn on f5, and if he captures, bishop will come and capture the g2 pawn. Now if you don't want to take any risk in this position, you can just continue with any move like knight c3, no problem. But knight c3, or in that case even queen e2, not a problem at all. You can play a normal game. But if
you want to play very interesting chess, and if you can notice the pattern here,
this diagonal leading to the king is open for our queen, and somehow if our queen manages to come on the h5 square, we can give a check and expose the king. What we are going to do here in this position is we are going to take the pawn and tempt him to come and capture a g2 pawn.
Now here black will be very happy thinking that he will get a rook.
But what he is missing out is this diagonal. The king's diagonal is open and now we are just going to give a check. Queen h5 check, everything is finished. King cannot move anywhere, all the squares are blocked. The only move which black can do here is push the pawn to g6, blocking the check. Now, very simple idea. Now our pawn is on f5 and here after f5, this was the blunder here. f5, black allowed us to keep our pawn on f5 and open the diagonal. Bishop on g2, queen h5 check, pawn goes to g6 trying to block the check. We will capture f into g6. Now there are two choices. If black again tries to be over smart, black will play the move knight f6, counter attacking on the queen, saying that if you move away, I will take your rook. But here comes the main move. You need to find out and tell me what is the best move in this position. You guys can pause the video. There are two best moves here. Not two, actually there is only one best move. You guys can pause the video and tell me the solution. Okay, so now I hope you have paused the video and tried to think of the solution. Now I'll tell you what the best move here is in this case. The best move here, some people might think, is g7. But after knight into h5, yes, we will get the rook, but at the same time we are losing our rook. We are winning this game, no doubt, but it is not a very convincing win. It is a good move, but not the perfect move here. The perfect move here is g cross h7 check, giving a check again with the queen, and the knight has to capture. Now it is a checkmate in one move. Direct checkmate, no messing around, easy win. So that is why f5 here in this position is a mistake, and yes, we saw how to refute the move f5. So obviously black will not play f5 if he is well prepared for the game, and after our move bishop d3, he will play the move e6. Normal variation, nothing much. Okay.
Sorry, I missed one variation, guys.
For bishop d3, f5, as we were seeing in the previous variation, e cross f5, bishop into g2, queen h5 check, g6, f into g6. We saw knight f6, and we'll just checkmate in two moves via g cross h7 and bishop g6 checkmate. What we missed out here is after f5, e cross f5, bishop into g2, queen h5 check, g6, f into g6. Now, if black wants to continue a normal game, black will play the move bishop g7. Then we will capture the h7 pawn, giving the check to the king and also attacking the g8 knight. King will come to f8. Now, if you want to play normal game, you can capture, make a queen, and it's all good. You can give another check here, not a problem at all. But if you want to play more interesting, you can play the move knight to f3. The idea being very simple, we are allowing black, our opponent, to capture the h1 rook, but in compensation for that, we are getting multiple attacks here. The knight can jump to g5, e5, the bishop's diagonal is open, we have a deadly attack going on, right? So, f5, obviously not a good move. So, after our move, third move, bishop d3, black will continue with e6. For e6, we are just going to make some normal moves. As I said, we don't want to commit very early on in the game on where to place our knight, either to place it on d2 or c3, because we want to keep our options open. So here we will play the move knight to f3. We can play knight c3, but again, as we discussed in the starting, bishop will come to b4. Again the same idea, pinning our knight and attacking the e4 pawn. So we will play knight to f3. After knight to f3, black at some point in this game, the main idea here is to open upon the queen side. We saw bishop d3, e6. Now we are going to play the move knight to f3. Not committing here. Now I was telling black's main idea is to open the queen side, open up the center, and try to open up the bishop's diagonal. So now he is going to do the exact same thing and push c5, trying to break in the center. No problem. Here we are having multiple options to play c3 or to castle. If we castle, for example, if we go for castling, c into d4, knight into d4, it is some kind of a Sicilian type structure, which I think if you are familiar, you will be very comfortable playing this position. Another move here is, this variation, the Sicilian type variation, is playable for both the sides. After c5, we will play the move c3. The most popular response here is c3. c3 just trying to strengthen the center here, nothing much. If they capture, we capture. We have two strong pawns in the center. So for c3, they are not going to allow us to get the center. They will play knight to f6, trying to again pressurize the e4 pawn again via the bishop and the knight. No problem. Here what we need to see here is after knight f6, we don't want to hurry up and play the move e5 very early, because that allows the black knight to come and sit on d5, which is a very good square because it can jump to multiple squares here. Knight c7, knight f4, knight b4. The knight is centralized, which obviously we don't want to allow. So we are not going to hurry and play the move e5 here. We will simply make a small move, queen to e2, just supporting the pawn on e4, nothing much. Now what black can do here is, now the queen has come to e2. You guys can see queen is eyeing on the king on e8. The file, if it gets opened, it will not be very good for black. So black will play bishop to e7. Black will play bishop e7, or if black ignores the threat that his king is on the same file as the queen, black will play the move knight c6. Not a very good move, and now white has to go for an all-out attack with the move d5. Here, if black captures e cross d5, we will take e cross d5 check, nabbing the piece, and we are a piecer, and then we can win the game very easily. So, if black is ignorant and he makes the move knight to c6, we know what to do in this situation. We'll play the move d5. If he captures our pawn, we take the piece and we'll win happily. But for d5, if the knight comes to a5, what will he do? We will simply push the pawn to c4, and I have highlighted here this knight on a5 and b7, the bishop on b7 and the knight on a5 are cornered and they can't do much. This bishop, actually the diagonal is completely blocked because our pawns have controlled the center. We are having the space advantage and it's a very good position for us. Now,
If black is ignorant, we know how to defeat him.
so for queen e2, he is going to play the move bishop e7. The simple idea being that the bishop on e7 is now blocking the pin on the king. We will go for castling. We have to develop all our pieces. Knight c6. Now knight c6 is not a threat because after d5, e cross d5, e cross d5, it is not a check since this bishop on e7 is blocking the. So now knight c6 is a normal move, nothing much. Now here is a very important part. Now you need to be very careful in this position because the idea of knight c6 is to open up the center, and for example let's make a dummy move. If we play h3, he is going to take the d4 pawn, and if we take back, knight will jump onto b4 happily. And now, as you can see by the arrows, he is attacking the bishop on d3 and he is also controlling the diagonal. Now, here we don't want to lose our bishop because we don't want to let our opponent have the double bishop advantage. So, a very important move here is, see, he is coming to the b4 square, very important move and a very simple one. For knight c6, we are just going to play a3. Now, no problem at all. If he captures, we will capture, and now our pawn on a3 is controlling the b4 square. We are not going to give away our pair bishops, and also these two bishops are very strong here, controlling both of the very important diagonals on the king side. We are going to make the move a3, which is very important to note because we don't want to lose our pair bishops, right? So, for a3, now the idea of coming to b4 is done for black. The black knight can't jump to b4. Next, what black is thinking here is, what if I bring my knight to a5 and then bring my knight to b3, trying to attack the rook and trying to attack the bishop. Black's main aim here is try to capture one of our bishops and then use his pair bishops to gain advantage in this position. We are obviously not going to allow that, and we will just control the b3 square with knight b d2. Now the knight on d2 is controlling the b3 square, everything is fine. Now black is thinking here, is there any tactics opportunity? Yes, black has found a tactics. See, there are two attacks on the e4 square and there are three defenders. e4 square, there are two attackers, the knight and the bishop, three defenders, queen, bishop and the knight. Now what if black can get rid of one of the defenders and capture the e4 pawn? So black thinks, I'll just make the move c4. Now, at first glance, it might seem that it's a free pawn because three attackers and one supporter. We can get the free pawn. But what happens here is after knight cross c4, knight cross c4, bishop cross c4. Here now the e4 pawn, which is very important for the center, is attacked by two minor pieces and only supported by a major piece, that is our queen. So black will happily take the e4 pawn, and now let's assume we play bishop d3. He will simply move back, and let's make a dummy move h3. Now black plays d5. Now black is the one in control of the center and everything is fine. So we don't want to allow that, and we are not going to, for c4, we are not going to capture. We will just move our bishop back, because as we saw, if you capture with the knight, they will get the e4 pawn and they will be it will be an equal position, but we are going to lose our slight edge, so which we don't want to lose. Obviously we have to push for the win here. We are for knight bd2 c4, we are not going to capture.
We'll say no.
And then we'll play our bishop, simply move back our bishops to c2. Now our center is strong. I'm highlighting the squares. The center is strong. Our pair bishops opened up at any time. They can be opened, not a problem at all. Our knights are well placed. Our king is castled. Everything is safe. The only thing here missing is our rook on b1. We need to do something of this rook. Let's see what we can do. So for c4, we are not going to take the pawn. Bishop c2, and now queen will come to c7. Black is thinking to confuse us with these two options. Either black will castle on the king side or castle on the queen side. Here he is trying to keep his options open. That's fair enough. It is a good idea. Now he is just going to play rook to e1, because we are going to strengthen our center, and since that is our only hope here, we have to open the center at some point, and with the idea of timing the move e5 at the right time, because so as to not allow the knight to jump on e5. As I showed you here, we don't want to rush with e5, because e4 b6 d4, bishop e7, bishop d3, e6, knight f3, c5 c3. Here we don't want to rush in with the move e5, because knight will come to d5 and control a lot of squares. So moving on, black has played the move queen c7 for bishop c2. Now we'll just make our move rook e1. Now we need to just think over the point that we have to time the move e5 at the correct time. We have to play it at the right time so that the knight cannot come to d5. Now black can either go for a long castle here, no problem, or black can opt for a short castling. For short castling, we are just going to play the move rook to b1. Now the idea of rook b1 is, as I said a couple of seconds ago, we have to do something with the rook, and rook b1 is a good move, because at some point in our game we need to move our bishop, either to sacrifice on the h7 square or move our bishop in general, bishop d1, bishop f3. We have to move the bishop, and then we also have to move the knight. Then this b3 square here can be controlled by the knight. Main thing here being, if the rook is on a1 and this bishop and knight are not there, black will play knight b3 and gain a tempo by attacking the rook on a1. Rook b1 idea being not allowing black to get a tempo, and in future if the knight comes to b3, it is not a problem at all. So here the next idea of white can be maybe knight to f1, knight to g3, maybe push the pawn, h4, h5, also following the idea of e5, opening up on the king side and trying for an attack. So this was the Owen's defense. I hope you guys understood a bit. Reiterating myself, just looking at the main moves again. e4, here I had asked you a question, how many legal responses does black have? Comment down below and I'll feature your comment in the next video. e4, b6, d4, bishop b7, bishop d3, e6, knight f3, c5, c3, supporting the center. Here we saw e6, yes, e6, knight f3, c5, c3, just normal development. I have told you all the ideas. Bishop e7 blocking the pin, castle, knight c6. Here, important move here, a3, blocking the b4 square, not allowing the knight to jump onto b4. Knight a5, idea knight b3. Now we play knight bd2, controlling on the b3 square, c4. Again, black is tempting us to take the c4 pawn. We are not going to take the c4 pawn here. We'll simply move our bishop to c2. And now, as you can see by the arrows, the attack is aligned. We just need to time it properly. Queen c7, black opening up its options for long castle or short castle. Rook to e1. We have to look into the move e5 and time it properly. Rook e1, short castle. We'll play rook b1, and the idea is clear. Maneuver our knight to g3 via f1. h4, h5, e5, and then go for an attack. I hope you learned something from this part of the video, and I'll make the second part shortly. I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I am also streaming daily live on YouTube. You can learn a lot. We are playing daily tournaments. Like to this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.